So, Kenya, thank you so much for being on the show. This is the Stephen Special podcast, and it's America's 250th birthday. Who is
Right.
not going to be excited about that? I mean, it's
Exactly.
so much patriotism, so much fun.
Yeah.
I'm in Fort Smith. You're in San Diego, correct?
Yes, here I am. Yes, in one of the most kind of libertarian or maybe left, side of the country. But here I am in one of the America's finest city.
The government, whether it's Gavin Newsom or Karen Batt, whatever the case may be, they just got to be more competent in their roles.
A lot of mismanagement of our tax dollars. People are just don't know what to believe, even if it's right or left, like Newsom or Newscom, as we how we like to call him. Um, Not even on the left side, they even support him. Like everybody knows that he's just doing a such a bad job down here.
Of course,
And
and you guys have a very interesting gubernatorial race, and possibly for the first time, you guys possibly could get a Republican governor. It would be interesting. Name dropping Araceli Martinez. She's running in the Los Angeles area. Like she's the best. So,
she
do you
is.
feel like the liberals are still going to have that stronghold with the state legislators?
Yeah, I mean they always have, their ace of spades somewhere, and they always have a play to do. But we do, like, exactly like Araceli, we do have those certain warriors that are willing to put that power into it, and when it's people well known like her, I think we do have a big chance, a very good chance to win, and not, and also, I mean, it's very good to notice that she is Hispanic, she is Latina. California is full of Latinos. So right now, I think Latinos and Hispanics are taking over a little bit. A lot of people like us are realizing, the true part of the story, and we're on the right side of history too. So when Latinos like us take over, um, it kind of opens a lot of people's eyes too. Like, okay, you're on the right side, not on the left. So that means so you're not racist? Like, how does it? So then people start wondering, right? And I think it's good to start for us to give that face now, because it's not just about the right side being all white. No, it's not about that. It's about right and wrong, and that's it. So people are starting to see that, and I'm very proud to say that our culture and our people are kind of realizing that little by little.
Thanks to the Republican National Hispanic Assembly in California. Shout out to Karina, by the way. Karina Powers is
Oh
doing the
yes, love
Lord's
her.
work.
Love her. Yes.
So, Karina, if you see this, we thank you, we salute you. Well, wanted to get with the idea of the podcast or the show
Yeah.
with America 250 coming up. Uh, you and I both have a love for this country. I can see it right now. Your flag right there is hanging,
I'm ready
and
for the 4th of July, of course.
totally July, 4th of July.
Totally ready. Yes.
I wanted to give our viewers just a little bit of context of our family's backgrounds. Tell me about your family.
Yeah, of course. Well, first of all, I'm a mother. I have three boys, and 5 years apart. I am I'm Hispanic. I was born in LA. I was raised in Tijuana. Believe it or not, I was raised in Tijuana. and I have 10 years living in San Diego. And yeah, I consider San Diego my home because that's kind of the question what they kind of try to, put in doubt down here where I live. Well, she's not, long living in San Diego, and I'm like, but this is my home, this is my present, this is my future, this is my family's and my kids' future. And this is where I'm gonna stay, and it matters, and I care about it. So yeah, this is so I am but I have always been like I live in San Isidro, which is not even, I mean, it's exactly across the border from Tijuana. I have always been a border girl, like they say, or a transfronteriza person. I have always go since I was little. I have always come back and come and go. It's just something usual that we do, or that I do. And both of the worlds feels like home. But definitely the US, San Diego, it's my permanent home. And so yeah, that's kind of who I am. And well, I know you were gonna ask about my background and all of that. So also my whole professional background is from here. I have background as an engineer and as an industrial designer. I have been working as a furniture designer as well. And having that certain type of leadership when it's about product management from overseas to the United States. So I know a little bit of managing um any type of things. I'm a problem solver. That's what an industrial designer is. And right now I am a school board member for my district here in San Isidro. And I was a candidate for City Council District 8 for the city of San Diego. Unfortunately, I didn't pass through the primaries because I was a writing candidate. We all know there's not a lot of possibilities when you're a writing candidate, but still, I think I did pretty good as a writing candidate. There was actually today is the last day to know how many votes we received. I need to check right now. I did like 900 votes, people that write my name in the actual ballot. Now I am also helping with some other campaigns from fellow, friends and people who wants to make a change.
Let me ask you, what values did your upbringing instill in you?
Well, I am a conservative person. Even again, my faith, most of all, my faith in God. I believe that everybody has a purpose. I believe that God wants me here, and He put me in this place to play this role and to fight for our people, and most of all for our children. That's why I'm also in the school board. And I think that is very important. And as Hispanics, we do have a lot of conservatism in our roots. We're that type of culture where, it's men and women, they all have our roles, and we have to play that role at every moment, and we have that value of family. We want kids. We appreciate having kids. We want them to see them grow. We want grandchildren. The just that value of of family is very important. The importance of accountability is so important to me. I think as Republicans, we do. need to preserve our constitutional values, right? We need to um, not just anybody to dictate what they're gonna do just because they want to. No, it is you need to be held accountable if you are in one of those roles, and we need to preserve those governmental regulations. And I think it's always very important to follow all these, rules that they're there for a reason. It's to preserve um, our nation, our cities, our streets. Is I think law and order is very important. So anybody that it's not about that, then we know they're not definitely not on the right part, right? So yeah, I
Well,
think that's kind of my where my values stand.
I understand let's go on a tangent here for a second. Like, I understand people's frustrations a lot with the United States about certain laws or certain stuff. Biggest topic right now, immigration reform or immigration laws. These laws are there for a reason. Now,
Correct.
have
Hmm.
the legislators for about 40, 50 plus years, have they made a lot of mistakes? Of course they have. They made a
Hmm.
lot of mistakes, and people are not perfect by any means. And I don't expect them to be perfect. But the thing that people just need to understand is they need to understand to change a law, you would have to contact your legislators, and the legislators change the laws. The thing that I love about America so much is simply the rights, the freedoms that we have here.
Correct.
Um, we'll get, I'll get a little deep here. My father came from Guadalajara. Uh, Poor kid from Guadalajara, and came here to get a better life. Worked
Mm.
his way from being picking potatoes in Idaho to
Mm.
having a very successful Mexican restaurant here in Northwest Arkansas, Texas,
Nice.
Oklahoma, and other parts as well, and having business partners everywhere. I believe that is the American dream. American dream, and right now he has a beautiful family. I have four siblings, and we all share the benefits of having just him being the patriarch of the family. He's made
Right.
it possible for all of us to have a good life. I went to college, had fun with work, with just everything else in between. That wouldn't have been possible without his sacrifice coming from Mexico to the United States. And I will
Exactly.
never forget that.
Exactly. And shout out to Guadalajara. My family, my mom's family, all of them are from Guadalajara. So yeah, my grandma, my grandpa, all of them. So and Guadalajara restaurant, wow, because I think they do have the best food in the world. Like really, I love the food from Guadalajara. Yeah, going back to the American dream, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. Uh, everybody, I mean, I think I do live in the American dream right now. I mean, I have my beautiful home. We purchased, my husband and I purchased this home when in our generation is so hard to purchase a home. Um, it's like I really don't think I don't think I know anybody from my generation who have probably a few who has bought a home and in California and in San Diego, it's just like, how did you do it? So it's so hard. And I feel like I am living the American dream because I'm also in this city with this amazing weather and and we're always looking for that also that same opportunity, to make our business, to hopefully one day run our business. Right now we're like, maybe here, maybe there. We're trying different things to see where are we gonna, our future, where is it gonna stand? But it's exactly that, exploring your opportunities, the opportunities that this country has to offer, and all the things that you can do, because you can grow like here, like they say in Spanish, like el que quiere puede.
Mm-hmm.
Who wants to, he does it. It does. So um there's so much things that you can do here. And even in these times, in this economy, I mean, I know it's harder than before, than our parents or our grandparents. It's way more harder, but you can still do it. There's still ways. And we do
Mm-hmm.
have, I mean, thankfully, we still have a government that can support you, still can support you. And that's also the beauty of the Republican side, right? Because they support all these businesses and small businesses as well. So we still have those opportunities, and to, just have our American dream.
Like I said, my dad is the patriarch of the family. Without his sacrifices and his work ethic, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't even consider doing a podcast or even go into politics for that matter.
Yeah.
He instilled with all of us, and especially my mother too, both of them instilled in me a drive to push forward and keep going. Don't sit around and just keep going, fight. A very good friend of mine, shout out to him, told me the most important thing: money is not really everything in this world. You got to have a good heart, you have to have a good spirit. That is the key, I believe, to really have the attainable American future.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, the first thing you need to have is a heart. Um, that's totally true. I mean, you can be the most smartest person on earth, and you can have the most money on earth as well. But if you don't have a heart, then nothing matters, because what good are you gonna do? Like, I feel like common sense starts from the heart instead of, the being smart. Because that's why you get that hinge, that feeling. So um it's always good to listen to that. You know what? Because maybe some people are good with words. People are good, trying to convince you, but you know that something it's not right, So you need to listen to that. And that's part of how I make my decisions. Like in the school board, I listen if people has a very valuable argument, and maybe I'm not in total agreement with it. I listen, and I put all the cards in my mind, and I just try to do at the same time research. Like, I'm a very good multitasker. But if at the end of the day, you know that something is wrong there, then that's part of the common sense, right? A decision making, in like, if you need to make a decision, like in moments of minutes or even seconds, then common sense is the most powerful tool you can have, and that comes from the heart, I think, too, right?
It all interconnects. That's all. That's
Exactly.
all I can say is like it just connects to everything
Exactly.
in life. So
It does. It does. And that comes also with the guidance of God, of course, of that
mhm.
spiritual, guidance that you have, and that guidance that is, telling you something in your heart that you need to do this or you need to do that. So, like you said, everything connects. I also believe that everything, it's a circle of energy. So we need to listen to that as well.
The proudest day that I've gotten this tattoo, "We the People," because this is my home. I'm gonna keep fighting for it. tooth and nail. If I have to work late or do something, I want the American dream for myself, but I also want to make America better.
And just, I mean, I I guess it's just to be fair, right? You need to just we just want for things to be fair. That's it. So when people live with the other part of the idea, um, then that's where we bump heads. But it's important to have that, that the dialogue. We need to keep communicating. We need to keep that civilness in people, which a lot of people are losing. That's why I think like teaching, I would love for my school district to teach civics, just to have one class of civics, even if it's one day a week. It's so
Mhm.
important because we're losing that. We're losing, just the value of interaction, the value of, of talking to one of each other. And that is exactly what I think it's been planned for us to lose. We have been losing that, and we do not have civility. We are losing civility. We cannot dialogue, and that is bringing us to chaos because there's so much division now, and nobody is willing to sit down, have a civil conversation, and even if you agree to disagree, but at least you listen to all of the points. And even if you don't want to, now you're gonna probably think twice, right? Now you're gonna be like, huh, okay, I never thought about it that way. And but at least now you can respect everyone's ideas and opinions, instead of having to fight for your idea to be the only one. No, I think we need to everybody to sit down and just have that dialogue, and not to
Love it.
explode.
This is just to be the last thing here.
Okay.
So, well, one thing's for sure. This has been the most fun I had so far with the podcast, and it's being
Really?
revamped, and I love it. And it's super exciting right now because, again, it's America's 250th birthday. I have the logo right here. And it's going to be on the link down in the description.
Yes.
But the Republican National Hispanic Assembly, California specifically, it'll be right
Yes.
down there. Go to it. Karina is doing the Lord's work. Karina, you're the best. You are the best. And we're going to get you a bunch of people to sign up, volunteer, whatever the case may be. She needs all the help because California needs to be saved.
Yes, and like Herb Morgan, who's running for state controller, let's unfuck California, right? It's so
That is good.
important. I love my cup. I love it.
I love it. You guys have all the great stuff over there. I love it. And I have with me Miss Sandy Moyer. Hey, Sandy,
Hey,
how's it going?
going well, Stephen. Thanks. Thanks for having me on.
Viewers, I just wanted to let everyone know about Sandy. She's with the Republican National Hispanic Assembly, but you're in North Carolina, correct?
Correct.
Right. And can you explain to my viewers what you do for RNHA?
Sure. So I'm the state chair of the North Carolina chapter. I'm also the Southeastern Regional Director, and currently just recently was onboarded as National Committee Woman. So what we're trying to do in North Carolina is we're trying to grow that chapter into the different counties, start those county chapters, then be the liaison of those local GOPs to reach out into the Hispanic community. And so far, we have established about 9 chapters. There's 100 counties in North Carolina, and there's some momentum right now in the Hispanic community. And so we've been recruiting, and we're going to be offering trainings here in a couple of weeks. A couple of weeks. So just trying to get ready for the midterms, gearing up for the midterms because those are going to be super important.
So, viewers, again, this is America's 250th birthday. We have so much pride, so much love for our country. I sure as hell am going to celebrate it like no other, but celebrate it responsibly, of course. Wink, wink.
Right.
No, but it's a once in a lifetime opportunity just to see 250 years of exceptionalism, greatness, you name it. This country has done it all. And it's still, I feel like the future is going to be brighter than ever before for another 250 years.
Mm. Yeah, I've been thinking about that lately. I actually, yesterday my daughter was asking me, she's like, Mom, do you love the American flag? And I said, yeah, baby, yeah, I do. And she goes, me too. And I was at an event that we had in Wake GOP. It was a 250 celebration. And I don't know what it was, but I was getting a little emotional thinking about the fact that it's the 250th anniversary and we're here in this moment. And I was thinking about, yeah, what does it mean to be an American? And it's not an ethnicity. It's really not ancestry. Yes, it's relevant, but not when it comes to determining what's an American. An American is somebody who adapts a set of values and principles. And the founders had made it very clear, yes, you're born in this country, but there are some people that choose to be Americans as well. And so as long as people understand we're under that common flag, that common goal, and that we allow ourselves to be governed by that Constitution and we adapt and assimilate, that's all those things is what means to be an American. And there's so many Hispanics that are proud Americans. I mean, we're overrepresented, I think, in a lot of them are in the military. I think it's like 21% of Hispanics are serving. When they get to this country, 12% of them are entrepreneurs. There's 20% of Hispanics in this country, by the way. We make 20% of the population, and 12% of those folks are starting businesses where our parents come from. That's really hard to do. And here in America, if you put your mind to it and you work hard, you can succeed. And that's part of the American dream. And it's been available to all people. I know I'm rambling a little bit, but I feel like so many people saying that we're anti-immigrant. I'm like, I mean, you go to any other country and it looks like one thing. You know what I mean? Here in America, you have people from all over the world here in America. And that's because we have such a generous immigration policy, and we always have. We are welcoming to the immigrant. And so, yeah, I was thinking about if it weren't for that opportunity that was offered to my parents, I wouldn't be here.
I have one story. My grandfather, Refugio, on my mother's side, came from San Luis Potosi, or I believe it was San Luis Potosi. He was married, had a few kids in Mexico, but he had a skill in the railroad business. I believe the 40s or so. The U.S. government needed some help, and they gave him that opportunity to come to the United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
First, he came to Dallas, but then he went to Chicago. He built that life. And when he was in Chicago, he was as American as can be, always watching the White Sox, smoking some cigarettes. So
Yeah.
it's inspiring to see that.
Right. My grandfather. Yeah, it is inspiring. And I think people need to hear more of these stories, so I'm thankful that you're having this podcast and kind of highlighting that. My grandfather, he was in the military in Dominican Republic, and he came legally. And then little by little, he started requesting, through the embassy, my mom, my uncles, and my aunts. But he ended up purchasing a building because, they were in Brooklyn, in Sunset Park, a whole building, and renting it out. And he worked at one of the factories. He was a Mets fan. I'm a Yankees fan, but he was a Mets fan. And when my mom came, she learned the language. She went to school. She was super active. And my dad had a small business. It was called Oscar's TV Shop. He had that going for him. Then he also used to work. He was a mechanic, so he had like a little bit of that engineering brain. But I had parents that definitely maximized the opportunities that were here, but they also taught us like to love where we were from. I mean, I remember having that sense of pride of being an American from very young. even when we moved back to DR, I think I was about 8, my mom moved us to DR. She didn't think we were gonna be there for 10 years. We ended up staying there for 10 years. Um, I remember as a 14-year-old, I tell people this story all the time. We never lost that connection with the American culture because of cable TV. So we were watching, Saved by the Bell. They were all MTV. My mom hated that we were watching, but we were still connected to the culture. We were reading books to make sure that we didn't lose the language. And I remember at 14 arguing with my teachers. I'm like, I'm an American, and I knew I was going to come back. But they instilled in me that sense of gratitude, like, hey, this is the country that has given us all these opportunities. Here's where we're going to like set our affections. And that I'm thankful for that.
Every country is not perfect. I get that.
Right.
It's a learning curve. If we were governed by angels, we wouldn't need a government at all.
Right.
So
Right.
it's a duty of every person really just to work hard to make America great, make America great. So I see a lot of people that are very upset with the government and with Trump and with all that. I just want people to understand, be grateful that you're in this country. If you were in Iran right now, the protests, everything is it's just insane. I'm so grateful every day waking up thinking that I have the opportunities right now to do something, to have a voice, have this podcast. That is the America that I love so much.
Right. Right, Steven, you're absolutely right. I feel like sometimes when you take a trip outside the country and really see how things work for them to appreciate what we have going on here. We are, men are imperfect. It's never going to be perfect. If they ran for office, it's going to be imperfect because they're imperfect, right? So nobody, it's in the best, we're in the best position we've been in a long time in a lot of areas. But to your point, I was like, I wake up in the morning, I'm not concerned about, somebody, you know, coming and storming into my house and asking me, if I have a Bible. Like there are people that are being persecuted in places like Nigeria, like asking me about my faith. I don't have that. And I don't have that fear. I don't have fear of going to church and not knowing if I'm going to come back or if my family members go to church, if they're going to come back, like what they're experiencing over there. I know some of the folks that I spoke to that came from Mexico. I don't have a fear of starting a business and having to pay government taxes, but also the cartel taxes. Like I don't have the cartels knocking on my door because I didn't pay my quota to them. Plus the kind of oppression that people are living under. That's why they're fleeing to America. Problem is that sometimes people get here and then they forget. And I think they forget because those things are not rehearsed. And that's why they tell us, study history, but also as parents, we need to make sure that people that are parents, as a parent, we need to tell kids, we need to rehearse, hey, this is the reason why, this is what's happening. Like in scripture, it was a big thing that they were talking that, God would tell the Israelites, rehearse the things that I have done to your children so they don't forget. And so we need to make sure that we're telling the stories so our children don't forget and that they're filled with gratitude. Like you said, it's never going to be perfect, but I think sometimes we maximize the negative and really don't focus on how good we have it here.
Right now, the biggest threat that President Trump really hit the nail on the head is communism, socialism.
Yeah.
And, being a history scholar myself, I thought that we squashed really communism. I believe we had the Communist Control Act of 1954, if I believe, but I don't think it's been reformed all that well, but America, viewers, we need to reform that act because communism is real. Zohran Mamdani, I'll put it right here. That smug face of his is the gateway for destruction.
I mean, I think that some of it is a lack of, I don't mean this at lack. It's ignorance. It's a lack of really understanding how those systems have played out. And anytime you point people to it, like, hey, look what happened in Cuba. No, that was communism implemented at its fullest. Look what happened in Venezuela. It's a lack of education, so it's ignorance. It's also fueled by resentment, and communism feeds on resentment. If I can't make it, I'm dissatisfied with how my life is panning out. Instead of me looking at myself and figure out how I can fix it, internally and how I can push, I'm gonna envy what somebody else is doing and want what somebody else has, and then hack what that person. That's what communism is. It is literally like it hinges on envying. It hinges on discontentment, resentment towards those who are successful. And the gateway to communism is socialism. So socialism is what comes in first through the door, and then it implements communism. But a lot of the universities and schools, they're not teaching world history. Yes, we need to teach. It's important. They're not even teaching American history correctly. So they're not teaching American history correctly, and then they're not teaching world history. I think it's important that we learn from other countries, the governments, and what's worked and what's not worked. So it's kind of like for us, it helps us soberly approach what's happening. Like, hey, we've seen it play out here. We have to be careful. This is why this type of governance, the constitutional republic that we have, at that moment when it was established, people laughed it off. They didn't think it would be something that would last. And 250 years later, it's been proven to be so successful. I think we actually helped. I think it was in Japan after World War II. I think we ended up helping establish some of those principles. Some countries, they were inspired by what we had done here in America. And some tried to do it and failed, and some took some elements of it and implemented it. But that's how successful our type of governance has been. It's very unique. But if we don't understand what other countries were doing, how they succeeded, and also how they failed, and what's the differences between how we've done what we're doing compared to what other countries, like if we don't have those comparisons, we're like in a bubble, right? So we're constantly going to be looking at what's wrong internally, but there's nothing to compare it to because you're not understanding what's happening across the world. And so I think that that's part of it as well. And then like what I was telling you, just parents not teaching their children to be grateful. So I think some of it is just not being thankful, because we take a lot of things for granted. We're a very rich nation. We've been comfortable for a long time, so we don't know what it's like not really to go without. I mean, there is poverty in America, but it's not like people couldn't lift themselves up of some of that poverty. There are options that the government offers that other countries do not. If you are poor, you are poor. That's it. I remember in the Republic, people in the streets, kids in the streets selling water. I don't see little kids in the street here in America selling water, selling. I mean, I don't see that. I'm not saying. So again, I think it's also a lack of gratitude. I do want to talk a little bit more about what it means to be an American, just a little bit, what it means to be an American, only because I was really encouraged. I've been thinking about that a lot. And I feel sometimes in the Hispanic community, especially some of these demographics, they don't feel like they belong for whatever reason. I don't know if it's because these other groups that are infused by this tribalism, try to remind them that because of the color of your skin or your ethnicity, somehow you don't belong here, right? My conversation with a lot of Hispanics is, if you were born in this country, if you became a legal citizen and you went through that process, then this is the country that you've been able to prosper, that your parents have been able to prosper. This is your country. I'm not saying that assimilation is an erasure of where you came from. You can be proud of where you came from. That's fine. But when you're in America, you fly the American flag with pride, because that we are under one common flag. And then you treat this country as my personal responsibility, not just like I'm here to benefit. And there's so many privileges that you have as an American, but there's a responsibility with those privileges. Like the way the government has been set up, it's fueled by the people. It gets its consent from the people. So the people need to understand, if that's the case, then I have a duty, I have a responsibility. This thing doesn't happen by osmosis. I have to get involved. If I enjoy what I'm benefiting from, it doesn't just, it's like a house. Like you purchase a house, it's a beautiful home. If you do no work to it, what's going to end up happening to that home is going to start decaying, and the lawn's going to be the grass is going to grow, grow wildly. Just cracks in the walls, or the paint is going to start to peel off. Because yeah, it's wonderful that you got that home, but now you got to take care of it. So there's a responsibility, like it's our responsibility to take care of the country that we call home, to take pride in that. And when I was reading a little bit about the founding fathers, I'm like, it was encouraging because you had people like Benjamin Franklin, who his parents were immigrants. They were from England. Okay. Alexander Hamilton, he wasn't even born in America. He was born in some British colony in the Caribbean, and these are our founding fathers. And so, but these men, when they chose to be Americans, I mean, they gave it all. And then the other thing was really interesting to me is like you had a range of ages from 20 to 70 involved in this process of America, like the multi-generational kind of, which I think is super important, is to have all types of different types of voices and experiences involved in anything that we're doing. We can learn from the young can learn from the older. Like there was a multi-generational coalition that was fusing that movement. And there were people that were wealthy, yes, but there were people that were just working class families, and there were people that were poor. And none of those things stopped those men from pursuing the dream of being free, of not being told by the British government, without representation, what they could not do in those colonies. They put their minds together and they fought common cause. And we're benefiting from their sacrifice because they had that mindset. And so I want to encourage us, like, we need to have that mindset. If we work together, we can accomplish so much. What fueled them wasn't just that pursuit of freedom and liberty, but also I think it was just an understanding that, first of all, they acknowledged the creator in all things, which is super important. And they understood where all blessings came from. And they were just grateful. Like, we're not in England, under the monarchy. We're here in America. There's an opportunity to make things, to have a different system, to make things differently than what we came from. There's an opportunity to set a standard for the generations to come. They weren't thinking about themselves. They sacrificed. They sacrificed not just their wealth. They sacrificed, some of them, their lives, sacrificed their time. They sacrificed, they expended their youth, their energies. And so kind of selflessness is needed if we're going to continue to benefit from the country that has helped us and lifted us out of, some of us came from very poor circumstances, lifted us out of those situations, not just poverty of, material poverty, but even a mindset. You come here, you realize this is different. Like, there's a mindset that comes with, I can achieve if I really set my mind to it. Nobody's telling you that you can't. There's no system holding you down. So all of that is what means to be an American. And I want Hispanics to understand. And I know a lot of them do, but there are some that need to be reminded. Like, I want you to understand, like, this is your home. Responsible. Take care of it. Advocate for it. Be proud of it.
Reagan said, if we lose, I'm butchering it, but if we lose our freedoms here, where are we going to go? This is the last place of freedom.
Yeah.
So you're right. We need to fight for it. We need to remind folks that this is our home. We got to do whatever we can. And I just got a notification from Fox News. Zohran Mamdani used the America 250 to sharply criticize the country, accusing the U.S. of allowing children to go hungry while the billionaires and oligarchs gain more power.
Funny, someone who comes from isn't Zohran also a millionaire? Doesn't he come from money? That's typically how it is. He has elite status. It's the elite people telling others, while they come from money themselves. What does he know about poverty and hunger? What does he know?
In your opinions, socially, the Hispanic community, what does a great America look like for them?
I think America looks like whatever it is that they want America to look like to them. I mean, life is what you, it's some of the stuff is, a lot of it is perception. I'm not saying that there are some real challenges, But if I believe that I'm granted the same access as anyone else, that I'm going to shoot for opportunities that I typically wouldn't because I keep myself down thinking that somehow it's not for me. Well, where does it say that that access just because you're Hispanic is not open to you? So somewhere somebody is telling you that you can't, and if you believe that you can't, you won't. So that's why sometimes people do not take risks because they think that those are not. I think it's I think some of the social issues are fueled by ignorance about how the system works in this country. That it is available to all people. And I think that when people shut down or just surround themselves by their like I get out there, make connections with people that look differently than you. Start having conversations. Don't be afraid to do it. I tell them all the time. It's like if I only surrounded myself with the same people that think like me or people that look like me or whatever it'd be easy for me to create stereotypical opinions of people. That's for any, by the way, that's for any demographic. If you don't allow yourself to surround yourself with different groups of people, you will create stereotypical conclusions about that demographic based on what you're listening to in the media, on your social media, on media. You'll come to conclusions. Once you start talking to individuals, which is the conservative way, and I said this the other time, it isn't the conservative is supposed to be the type of person that judges based on the individual. And by the way, that is all throughout our founding documents as well, that we judge by the individual merit. Okay. And so when you have people being judged by the group that they belong to, that poses a real problem. So I'm going to have this mindset that all whites are racist, or all blacks are thugs, or all Hispanics are illegal. That's not true. None of that is true. But I'm basing that on some stereotypical notion that was pushed onto me by the culture. But where is that coming from though? A lot of it is coming from the media, a lot of it's coming from social media, a lot of it's coming from all these institutions. And so once you start stepping outside of that and realize, if I decide to judge people by their individual merit, I realize there's a lot of kind people in all of those groups. There's a lot of people that believe in law and order in all of those groups. There's a lot of people that are generous in all of those groups. So Hispanics have to push back on that narrative and welcome all people, get to know others. I tell them, come with me to some of the Republican meetings, because when I go to some of these local GOPs to talk, I've never felt that I'm walking in while Hispanic. I mean, I'm like, I'm Sandy. I'm walking in that door and I'm Sandy. I've been asked to come by a lot of those leaders to come and speak about the efforts that we're making in our communities. And I've never been pulled aside. I'm very open. I've never pulled aside and told, hey, you can't talk like that here, or you can't. I felt welcome. I felt welcome. I felt supported, but because I've chosen not to just surround myself with what, I'm saying, like, push out of that comfort zone that you're in and start having conversations. That's one of the things I would say that I really admired about Charlie Kirk, because there was a mindset about some of the college kids. It's true. All college kids are brainwashed, blah, 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 right? Well, what did he do? He set a tent right in the middle, right in the heart of where the battle was in the colleges. And he started having conversations. And I remember, and I'm paraphrasing, he said, when we're going to end up in a bad situation in this country is when we stop talking to each other. Don't stop talking to each other. Get into different mediums, meet different people. So socially, I would say that some of that how Hispanics feel about, I don't know, not being accepted. I think that as a general statement, I don't think it's not true. Are there some people? There's always going to be some. I mean, no matter where you go, you can travel outside the US and there's going to be somebody in that. I mean, I know in DR, there was a lot of, there was a lot of tension between Dominicans and Haitians. Like you travel outside the US and there's going to always be some groups of people. It's just the way it is. It's human nature, right? It's that simple nature. But in general, are Americans not accepting of Hispanics? I would say no, that's not true. I would say Americans are accepting of anyone that values what they value. And if you're coming into this country and they love this country, just like it's like me going to Mexico and bashing everything that Mexico does. Or let's pick Dominican Republic. I mean, whatever country, I'll go to that country, bash what that country does, fly my flag, um, talk negatively every moment I can in front of the media about the government in place, not having any. What do you think the people from that country are going to feel? They're going to feel, wait a second, you're living here in our country, but then you want to destroy, dismantle, speak negatively. Where is the positive in any of the things that you're saying? You're gonna build resentment from those people. Who's gonna want you in their house when you come in somebody's house, all you're doing is picking apart the house, you know?
Mhm.
Nobody's gonna want to welcome you that way. So I think I think that we just have to be careful.
Unfortunately, there are so many people that you see that have done some either horrific things, but they kind of how do I say it? That's the marker that everybody sees, like, oh my gosh, if those illegals did it, then every other illegal does it. No, not
Yeah,
every illegal does horrible things.
I agree. It's the media on both sides. Yeah, I agree that there are some people. I agree that there are people that come here into this country, and even though they didn't come in the right way, they're not coming in committing crimes. You know, even though crossing the border was a crime in itself, but they're not coming in here stealing. They're not coming in here assaulting people. They're coming in here to work. I know that there's that. But the media on both sides is always going to highlight the negative. That's how they get the clicks and views. That's how they get these people get paid. It really is up to us to be able to do our research and dig in deeper as to, is what I'm being told, is that accurate? And I tell people all the time, like, and if somebody gets deported, and I think about this, I'm like, they're going back to their country. It's not like they're being sent to some prison, you know what I mean? Like they're being sent back home. They're being sent back home so that they can then rectify things. Sometimes it's kind of crazy because I'm like, okay, so you'll get upset and fly the flag from your country, right? Whenever you're upset. But then if somebody gets sent back to the country that you're flying the flag of, you're upset about that. I'm like, wait a second, aren't you proud of where you came from? They're just being sent back home. Like it make sense. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's what I believe it's just the left. A lot of these Marxists, all they're trying to do is use Hispanics as pawns to push a message. And the message is always going to be the abolition of the established order. That's it. They're constantly going to try to destroy the structure that made this country what it is, and they'll use anybody to do it. Hispanics, stop taking the bait. Just stop taking the bait. There comes a point where you have to ask yourself, like, you know, if you care so much about the place that you came from, if you care that much about it, then go back home and make it better. If you care so much about where you came from, then go back there and make it better. And don't come here trying to feed off of whatever resentment because of whatever personal issues are going on at home. I feel sometimes people are bringing stuff that's going on at home out into the public. Make where you came from better. Or if you choose not to do that and you choose to stay, then make where you are better. Work to make America the best that it can be, because we don't need any more people in this country complaining and whining. We need more people working and beautifying and teaching and lifting up and helping and creating. That's what's going to continue to make our country great, and it's going to make the system sustainable. But if you have a bunch of people trying to tear it down, we're going to end up in a really bad spot. So that's the message that I that we have to be, it's a hard message, I think, sometimes for people to hear, but it's the truth. It's the truth. So we're in America. So most of them chose to be here. And those who say that they didn't chose to be here, well, you chose to stay here. Okay. Because you can go back if you don't want it. But now that you're here, what is your responsibility toward this country? And that's what we're trying to do as we our chapters when we're having this conversation. What's our responsibility? And I'm seeing actually a lot of Hispanics, not to just be negative, I'm seeing a lot of Hispanics that feel the same way you and I feel, that want to get involved. They just didn't know. Some people, they just don't know. Sometimes it's out of ignorance. Like they don't know what they don't know. Once you point them in the right direction, they're like, oh, I hadn't thought about that. Or like, that's a conversation that I had not had. Now that you frame it that way, that does make a lot of sense. And we have even some Hispanic churches that are like, hey, can you come and train our youth? They want to get involved. We want to leave a better country for our children. You know, we love the systems here in America. So there's that also. I don't want to paint that Hispanics are all like, there's a whole big group of us that are like 100% invested in this country, want to see it, you know, become better, want to see some of the principles that made it what it is remain that way, and are like, okay, how can we pass that down to the generations to come? There's a bunch of us like that as well.
So viewers, do not become a Zohran Mamdani. Be better than that. Become a George Washington. Become a Teddy Roosevelt. Become a Donald Trump. Be successful people, not a champagne socialist. Do not.
And Stephen, that's like a general statement for everyone. It's not just for Hispanics, it's everybody. Stop complaining, because the truth is, you know, Americans get comfortable. You know, when you've lived in comfort for so long, you take it for granted until you have someone coming from the outside and they're like, whoa. And then you realize, wow, I didn't know how I didn't think of, like, you turn on the light switch and there's electricity. Like I don't think of it now. When I first came back from DR after living there for 10 years, I remember when I would turn on that light switch on, I was like, and we'll have electricity 24/7. It's not like apagones like in DR. Or when I turn on that hot water, you know, wow, running hot water. Like, so sometimes you need foreigners to come in and remind us of what they don't have that we have, so that we can be thankful and acknowledge, like, man, we take a lot of things for granted in this country. So take the time to spend time with family, obviously, like you're saying, and just revel in the fact that we're in this moment and we're part of this great country. Let's celebrate it. Let's make it better. Let's unite. There's that conservative message. Let's make sure that we're promoting it everywhere we go, because it's going to be the survival of the republic. That I 100% believe that.
Take it all in, folks. And viewers, if you want to be a part of the Republican National Hispanic Assembly, and if you're in North Carolina, right up here, the logo is going to be up there. Talk to this lady right here.
There is a lot of excitement with Hispanics right now. Plug in. And so we are seeing in the Hispanic community an awakening. You know, our values are conservative. Their values are conservative. We are about family. We are about community. You know, we are patriotic. You know, we care about education. We care about all these things and so we want to make sure that we are honing in on those, because Hispanics are not a monolith. They're not a monolith. They don't just care about one issue. They care about a lot of issues.
And I'm with the RNHA. I actually oversee Texas, Arkansas, and Louisiana. Louisiana is our newest territory for us. So if you're in those 3 states, hit me up. I'd be happy to plug you all into RNHA. But we are both doing the Lord's work. We need all the help we can get. So, and right in the description is going to be the membership drive. So, well, happy birthday, America. Sandy, I want to thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on, Stephen.